science.
The fight is that the blood of 1,000 men and women was spilled in these walls. Limbs twisted and broken. Eyes gouts from bloody sockets. Flesh burned black.
Please. No way for dead. In death, there are no accidents, no coincidences, no mishaps, and no escapes. What you have to realize is that we're all just a mouse that a cat has by the tail.
The number you have reached, 911, has been changed to a non-public number.
Warning, the following show contains conservative posturing, radical Christian ideas, and may offend pagans, Wiccans, Islamic fundamentalists, and other unenlightened individuals. Callers and guests may be subjected to brash and offensive comments by the hosts and any other type of bullying tactics available. But that's okay. We know why you're here.
This concludes this test of the emergency broadcast system.
Tonight is Monday, September 10th, 2007.
Welcome to World of the Unexplained. This is Jay Scott.
This is Trent Lackey.
Trent not knowing that we're on.
I guess so. I'm arranging things. Okay, let's try that. Yeah.
Tonight we may or may not have a guest. It appears that we had scheduled some exorcism guest, an exorcist. So we're hoping, and Dee will continue to call as we, as we go on.
Father Daniel Gargilio.
Father Daniel Gargilio.
That's right. I didn't actually speak to him today, but he seems to be a pretty busy guy. But
those exorcists, man, you've got to watch them because, they may get called out. It's like, oh, got to go, can't do the interview. I'm going to exercise.
Well,
That's right. So, anyway, but it's interesting to see that. I don't know. I'm tired of picking on Senator Craig because I've just been over and over it so much now that I don't really know what else to say that hasn't been said.
He's doing this thing, and he's doing this other thing, and then goes back and does this other thing.
I'm not gay, and I never have been. I mean, it's girl that was in the music. What are you talking about? South Carolina? Are you talking? I don't know what you're talking about.
Neither do I.
It's okay. High School Musical.
What about her?
Talking about South Carolina?
That movie, actually.
That
horrible,
is that what you're talking about?
Horrible High School Musical.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I can go ahead and say that because I've seen it.
I don't know what you're talking about.
There's the sequel, I think. That's,
High School Musical 2?
Yeah, just came out.
It's twice as bad, really.
What are we talking about here? Kill the music, man. Nude photos.
Oh, is
a
that
high school
shocker?
girl?
Yes, but she was...
Is she 18?
No, she was only 16.
Oh, she was only 16.
My gosh.
Let's break some laws. Yeah.
What a shocker.
You think her name was Jennifer? Hutchins. Okay. Well,
either way, the movies are horrible. I mean, unfortunately, in high school, they seem to love them. A lot of the kiddies out there love these musicals, and
they don't know what real entertainment is.
Well, I mean, they don't. I mean, I'm not really supporting musicals or anything, but I mean, as far as musicals go, these are very bad. They're. Well, it's like Radio Disney, and you know how I feel about that.
I want to talk about this. Is what I heard today, and I don't know. I haven't had time to really look into it because I've been so busy. But something to do with North Carolina being the first state to actually implement this kind of chip in your driver's license that is going to make information available not only to the United States government but to the Canadian government and the Mexican government once this new freeway is built from Mexico through Canada.
Oh, that's great.
And this chip supposedly is going to tell, it's going to link your health records, so they'll know if you had an STD in college. It's going to link your, seriously, I mean, it's going to link your health medical records on there. It's going to link your insurance information. It's going to link your criminal records. That's some scary stuff, man.
That's too much information on one and such a small
I don't want some
thing.
Dictator in Mexico. There's the phone ringing. I don't want some dictator in Mexico, knowing what my information is.
Yeah.
And nor that. I don't want unsafe Mexican trucks.
Not to mention very, very, very.
Think of the personal
environmentally
injuries.
unfriendly.
Well, yeah, but think of the personal injuries that are going to come out of this thing. You're talking about trucks that the Mexican government just rubber stamps, and they're going to put they're going to put our truck drivers out of work, man.
And you know how,
because they're going to work cheaper.
And you know how efficient those Mexican bureaucrats are.
Yeah, and guess what they're going to load their trucks with? Drugs and illegal immigrants. That's what they're going to load their trucks up with. With an open border, you might as well just get rid of the Border Patrol altogether, because all these drug cartels are going to invest their money in the trucking industry in Mexico. What do you think, Chuck? Am I right or am I right?
Well, I think that whole cataloging venereal diseases is not a half bad idea. It might actually do away with the Ron Mexicos,
Yeah.
You're not Ron Mexico. You're Michael Vick. You're not little.
Scott.
You're not little John China.
Chip,
Yeah, exactly.
Wait a minute,
Chuck
Carl, Latvia. We know all about your. Anyway.
That's
no,
awful.
actually, Scott. I mean, I know that seems like the obvious thing that's going to happen, but once again, it seems so obvious. I don't know.
This isn't the first time this has come up, though. It came up in the late 90s.
But I'd heard that they passed this thing at night. And I don't know. Like I said, I just haven't had time to check it out.
I think it's a bad idea in general, but for other reasons. But
from what I understand, they passed this legiation already. And
how does Congress even have this kind of time when they're grilling Petraeus today?
Who knows, man? They'll make time for something like that. To slide it under the Americans at the last minute. I am now going to give my support. My support currently for president is with Tancredo, of course, but seeing that he probably isn't going to make it into the primary, my support will have to go to Fred Thompson.
Mr. Thompson,
really?
Yeah.
He looks very presidential.
Why exactly, other than you like him and that he was on Law and Order?
He was also on Days of Thunder, man. Don't forget that.
Oh, that's
was
right.
it really?
Yeah.
That's right. He was the manager, wasn't he?
That's right. He's like, you boys can say something along the lines of, you boys can kill yourselves on these North Carolina highways, but you ain't going to do it in my cars on my racetrack.
I honestly don't mean to slight you, man, but why Thompson? He honestly strikes me as the candidate that stupid people vote for.
Thompson, because number one, he's come from a background where he's worked in factory jobs all the way up to then he becomes a lawyer. He works his way through that. He's done some very important things as a lawyer in Washington. He's been a senator, so he's got that political experience.
But he did nothing as a senator. He didn't sponsor or write one piece of legislation in 8 years.
Matter.
It doesn't matter.
The thing is that he's had some experience with it, and I think he's the best hope the Republican Party has left, because he's got that. To me, he's bringing back the dreamy, wispy days of Ronald Reagan, because he's got that same charisma that Ronald Reagan.
Do you know
has.
anything about his platform? Because to my knowledge, he hasn't issued one or published one yet.
No, he hasn't. But he gives there's a little 20-minute thing on his website. If you go to his website, I think it's we'rewithfred.com.
Something like vote for me, I'm Fred Thompson.
No,
I drive
no.
a big red truck.
It's
I look presidential.
It's about a 20-minute speech where he talks about how he stands on different things, and they're all in line with what I want to hear. Now, whether or not obviously he doesn't have the track record to back it up. That concerns me a little bit. But I think as far as if you were to put him against Hillary Clinton, because right now I think Hillary Clinton's probably got the best chances of winning a race.
In the general election?
Yeah.
No, her numbers are the highest in a general
That's
election.
That's what I'm saying. And I just...
No, I mean the highest negatives.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Is Barack Obama up
No,
there?
the second one is actually Mitt Romney, and the third is actually Edwards.
Really?
Yeah, because the whole trial lawyer thing, I think.
I still like Edwards, even though he's a socialist.
Me too. I mean, there's some Carter-esque
If I had
about
to
that
have
guy.
a Democrat, it'd be John Edwards in there. That's the way I feel about it. If I had to have a Democrat, it'd be John Edwards. But if I had to have a Republican, Mitt Romney is just too slick and polished and too car salesman for me.
Yeah, there's something very kind of shady about that guy.
Mike Huckabee, he did well on the
Huckabee,
Fox News
and
debate. So did
I saw that
John
debate.
McCain. They said he might have resurrected
John
his
McCain. I didn't
campaign.
think. I think that he took a lot of hard questions, and I think that he messed up a lot. I think the same thing goes for Romney. You saw the question from the restaurants where the people would call in, and you would see, asking the hard questions. I remember one, I was trying to do 3 different things while I was watching this thing, but one that Romney was asked something along the lines of about his son giving up his time and that sacrifice to help. Do you know what I'm talking about, the campaign?
Yeah, it was the father of a vet. Is that what you're talking about? A guy that was
Yeah,
a father
yeah.
of a guy over in Iraq, and how Romney had talked about
it being the same,
his
or
son
equal
working
as-
on his campaign. Yeah, there was
as
some
equal
sort
kind
of
of-
equivalent.
yeah. Like, whoa, come on.
The guy was almost in tears actually when he was
Yeah.
asking the question to Romney, and Romney sat there with a big grin on his face, which
Yeah.
politically just was not
The right
a
thing to
particularly
do.
calculated move. I don't know. Hillary Clinton might have done the same thing. in
And the way
same
that he
situation.
really, if you notice, Romney didn't really issue an apology. He did what I like to call the Patton apology. If any of you that have seen the movie Patton, I just watched it a few nights ago again, thinking, God, we need a George Patton right now to really kick some butt over there. But the Patton apology, when he slapped the soldier, have you seen the film?
a very long time.
Yeah.
ago.
Okay.
It's been about
When he
15
slaps the
years.
soldier, he's ordered to apologize by the president. So he comes out there and he's like, mumbling through, and he said, "Well, I just wanted to give the boy some sense of honor, kind of scare the coward out of him, and this, that, and the other." And then he's like, "So I offer you that as my explanation for what I did, And he's like, and he pauses and he's like, "Apology," and then he's like, "Dismissed." He kinda turns around,
like he just
It was
barely,
like
barely did enough.
It's not even an apology, really, but he used the word apology at the very end. And that's kind of what Mitt did, because he's standing there smiling with a grin on his face, and he kind of bounces around the apology. And I
Very
think,
political.
Yeah, and I think that John McCain also took some tough hits.
What was that thing the younger guy said? Are you too old?
Oh,
and,
yeah, I'm
you're
sure
gonna-
you've heard about that.
You're going to die
You're too
in
old to be
office or something
president.
like that?
Yeah.
And he's like, I can't remember what he said, but he was said,
He had a
you're
pretty good
drafted.
retort. He had a pretty good retort for it, actually.
He said something, and he's like, "You're drafted." And I'm like,
Yeah. I don't know, man. Fred Thompson,
McCain
look.
actually looked crisp, actually, for the first time in a number of those debates. I thought he looked like he was on his game that night.
Geritol complete.
Oh, my gosh. So,
I used to like McCain, too. He's just...
I did, too. I liked him last time around. He seemed
did,
very
too.
straight shooting. I really give him respect like I give any guy who went through the POW camps in Vietnam or whatever. You know what I'm saying? As a politician, it seems a little more
Yeah, but when you're asked the
little
question about
spirits.
what is waterboarding okay? Can we torture these guys?
Right.
And McCain's going,
He just-
well, I don't think we should do
Well,
that.
see, let me explain that for a second. All the people from Colin Powell on down, all the generals, all the people who had actually served in the military were against torture, because that delegitimizes our position as being a democracy. And,
It takes away the whole high
upholding
ground.
international laws. The people who were against or were for torture, against McCain's position, were all people that were politicians, career politicians.
you're right.
People in the administration. I mean, I don't know. Who would you go with? Some stuffed shirt, or somebody who's actually,
Been there and
been out
done
in the
it.
field? And the people that were out in the field are the people that have sided with John McCain on torture.
Yeah, well, I mean, I just think that America needs to do what it's got to do. I think one thing we should do that'll never happen, but allow President Bush to have the War Powers Act and go into these Muslim mosques and smoke them out.
Smoke 'em
Domestically?
out.
Is that what you're
Oh, I
talking about
like-
here?
Yeah, domestically.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I like that
I think they're
flat.
already doing it.
Well,
Well,
they
they probably should be. I mean,
Tomorrow is
but-
the 11th, and you know how the dates with these Islamo-fascists are. They serve as some kind of important anniversary where they're all hooting and hollering. But it is Ramadan, so they'll probably be too weak to do anything because they haven't. Or I think Ramadan started this week. I'm not sure. I had it on. I was looking at my court calendar the other day, and it said first day of
On your
Ramadan.
BlackBerry.
Yeah, no, I don't have a
Ramadan.
BlackBerry anymore.
That's when Scott starts looking to the left and to the right, a lot shiftier.
But a
waiting.
lot of those Muslims die during Ramadan because they're not allowed to drink water or eat food during the day, and a lot of these guys that work construction out in the Middle East.
No water either.
No
huh?
water.
I did
Sun
not
up,
realize
seems
sun
like
down.
a fairly
that was part of it.
a
It is,
foolish.
yeah. Well, hey, it's
decision.
religion of peace, man.
But anyway, and there's that whole
Spread
thing
by
with
the sword.
Bin Laden's new his new tape. What do
Yeah.
you think about that? He had his beard dyed. I mean,
Is it even Bin Laden?
yeah,
have they
exactly.
conclusively came to that?
I mean,
'Cause
we do
don't
know that the guy has that kidney issue where, oh my gosh, I can't remember what it's called, but he has to be hooked up
The
to the
dialysis.
machine. Yeah.
Dialysis. I'm not so sure that's even.
They're even saying
correct.
they're even
That may
saying
be
now that
bogus.
may be not
All
true.
the dialysis rumor.
Yeah.
Well, what about the content of that message? He was talking about subprime loans in the message. He was also talking about Noam Chomsky. There were a lot of odd
weird things.
He talked about Bush getting a mandate in 2004 that it's we can understand what happened in 2000, but why would you guys, if you're not our enemies, go and re-elect this guy? In 2004, you in essence gave him a mandate, just like he said.
I don't know. I mean, part of me, I've always been against the war effort there because of the reasons it was entered into. As far as
Iraq, right?
Yeah, in Iraq. But on the other end, I mean, if he wouldn't continue to send out these tapes, they wouldn't continue to do the things they do if we weren't bothering them because we're there. Think about it. We're invading the Holy Land.
Yeah,
and I think that maybe there is some import in being there. It seems that all the soldiers we talk to are very pro-force about it, even like the returnal Colonel Marcel, Jr. He talked about it, you remember. I don't know. Maybe it's one of those things because I'm not there. I can't really accurately make that, I mean, we don't see it with our own eyes. I don't know, Chuck. I mean, it's starting my thinking on it's kind of, I guess, in a limbo right now. I don't know, should we be there, should we not?
Well, did you see the I guess it was the headline on the New York Times, General Petraeus?
Oh my goodness, yeah.
Yeah, even before
that's such an easy
he hadn't
thing
even
to
said
generate.
a thing in front of Congress yet. This
And they're already telling him what he's going to say.
Exactly. He's a Benedict Arnold. He's the mouthpiece of the administration.
I just I don't know about that. I mean, didn't they do that stuff? Okay, I'm not saying his information is not correct in some way, but there are many different facets that you can.
We got the guest? No. Okay. Go ahead, Trent. I'm sorry.
Anyway, but okay.
We don't have the guest. Many different facets.
There's many different facets of the information, and and I remember in Vietnam a lot of times they would have those Saturday or 5 o'clock reports about how the war effort is doing so well. And they had these charts and figures. I didn't really remember. Obviously, I wasn't there, but I mean, I remember seeing things like this where the generals would come up with charts and figures about how the effort is really succeeding. And I'm not really sure if the information that is given is. If it's accurate, but I don't know if it's the whole story, I guess.
Well, hold that thought just a minute. We've got Adam from Nashville, Tennessee on with us. Adam, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. How you doing?
Doing great. Thanks for calling World of the Unexplained. What's on your mind, buddy?
Well, I was just listening to your last 3 podcasts.
Uh-oh.
From almost a month ago for all your Michael Vick stuff. I just wanted to share with you guys.
Great. What is your Ron Mexico name?
Well, it was something Moldova. I don't remember the first name. What I wanted to share with you guys is I typed that back in. I got the Michael Vick name for that one was Hercules Uganda.
That's a great name.
That is awesome.
I just wanted to share that with you guys.
He sounds like a defensive tackle or something.
Hercules Uganda. Oh, great.
Well, thanks, man. I'm hoping we're going to have our exorcist on tonight. We're trying to contact him.
Yeah, we have 2 different numbers. So.
And I apologize for the delay in getting those podcasts up. I've been so busy trying to get this law firm off the ground and eat and moving into a new house and moving the studio, and it's just been stupid.
Oh, I understand.
But thanks for listening.
Who did you have on the last 3 weeks? Because, I wasn't even in the country, so.
Oh, where were you at?
I was in Brazil.
Oh, really?
Oh,
okay,
really? Cool.
Yeah.
What were you doing in Brazil?
So we went down there to visit her family.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. We had Walid Shubat, an ex-terrorist, actually, a couple of weeks ago, I remember.
Yeah, he was a former terrorist, now turned conservative Christian. It's really crazy.
Kind of
Yeah,
interesting.
I heard that. That was really good. That was a good show. I'd heard him on Coast to Coast before.
Oh, really? Oh, cool.
Interesting
Yeah.
guess.
Who else do we have?
Jesse Marcel, or that was
Jesse Marcel Jr.
That was before 3 weeks.
We had Johnny Garman, a good friend of mine I've known
Yeah.
for a number of years. He wrote a book called "You're Not a Democrat, You Just Think You Are."
Right.
And I'm going to be trying to mess with that. It's a great book, and I'm going to try to mess with that, and we'll offer it for sale on the site later. But he's, it started because I used to be such a flaming liberal, and I really was, and it started because the conversations and arguments him and I used to get into when I was in law school, yelling about people's rights and the ACLU when I used to be a member of that dumb organization. And, but it started that way, and then sooner or later it rolled back around. He's like, no, dude, you're not a Democrat. You just think you are. And when you go, it's a self-test, and at the end of each chapter, you can do a self-assessment and find out where you really stand. Are you really conservative? Are you really liberal? Or are you in the middle somewhere? But real good read, and I'll like I said, I'll have that posted later. But thanks for calling, Adam. We appreciate the call.
Hey, I appreciate it, guys. And I was just wondering, you guys ever planning on ever doing like try to do another like convention or like the out of
you actually signed up for that, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
And we had about, I can't remember how many we had. We were close.
It was pretty close.
It just didn't make it. And we're going to try to do something. I'd like to do it. I'd love to do one in Nashville. Actually, I think that'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I still say Atlantic City or somewhere. You know,
you just want to gamble.
You know it.
But yeah, we're gonna
come on over. You guys can stay over here. So.
Oh, definitely. Cool. Well, we appreciate it, man. Thanks for the support. Keep listening, man. We love you.
Oh yeah, it's a great show, guys. I really, really enjoy it.
Thank you.
Thanks so much. Have a good night.
You too.
All right, take care. All right, and got a caller before the first break even.
I know.
That's cool. I hadn't heard from Adam in a while, so that's nice.
That's a pretty cool name, Hercules Uganda. You know, Hercules.
The Ron. It's pretty bad when your callers call to share the Ron Mexico stuff. We really played that thing up for a
and
month.
the thing about it is everybody I've emailed that site to has reported back names that they had, and it's pretty hilarious. You know.
Well, I told you about Leanne when I plugged her name in.
What was it?
Her name, it was like Belladonna Estonia, but her last name came back the same as mine.
Hank Estonia, right.
And I was like, that's just too weird.
That's also weird that, I'm Carl Latvia, and Latvia's right beside Estonia, Scott. Just like I'm right beside you in the studio.
You're kind of Chuck. We got a Chuck sandwich going on here. Chuck's in the middle.
Well,
That's wrong. Real wrong.
That's little John China. He's wearing a Chinese shirt.
I want you guys to check out. I want you guys to check out Chuck's website that he's been working on for Third Rail Radio.
Actually, it's not up.
Or
right
the
now.
MySpace. What's the MySpace for?
It's myspace.3rd Rail Radio. I believe.
Okay, so it's myspace.com/.
It's myspace/3rd Rail Radio, and I think that's it. No com or anything else.
We'll check that out.
Chuck, you need to add some flaming guitars to that. That'll really get the people in there.
Yeah. Wiggly wow!
Flaming guitars that spin. Oh my gosh!
Limousine.
Tarantula.
Yeah, for any of you guys that don't know what we're talking about, if you check out Strongbad, homestarrunner.com.
The Strongbad emails.
Yeah, we really want to get those guys on the show because they're just so crazy.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
But we're going to take a break. We're going to try to get a hold of this guest again. Trent booked him, so that's why he's not here.
That was not
happened.
right.
It's happened to me before too.
Yeah, I know. Well, he's an exorcist. He might be exercising.
He may be exercising.
I mean that in all sincerity.
No, I know.
Really
I know.
May be doing that.
He could be.
Yeah.
And I really wanted to talk to him because I was, just glancing again today at the book that. Oh gosh, what is his name now? The doctor. Help me out, guys. He wrote
Michael
the road.
Cuneo?
No, he wrote The Road Less Traveled. Help me out. You know who I'm talking about.
I never read the book.
He died recently, and I want him on the show too. But he wrote a book. He also wrote People of the Lie. Oh, come on!
Sounds like we'd have to get that exorcist back then to have him on the show.
Well, anyway, he actually he wrote these books, and the chapter in People of the Lie where he talks about the demonic possession that he dealt with, and he actually dedicates a book to Malachi Martin. But he talks about the two cases as a psychiatrist in his professional. In his professional area, where he had actually come across two cases of what he believed to be true demonic possession. M. Scott Peck. That's it. M. Scott Peck. Dr. Peck. All right, guys, we're going to take a short break, and we'll be right back on World of the Unexplained with hopefully a guest after this. And we're back. World of the Unexplained. We have tried and tried to get a backup guest. I've called Ethan Dettenmeyer. I've called Joshua P. Warren. I've called Bill Schneblin, the ex-vampire. I've tried to call Jim Mars. I'm kind of out of...
whole lot of guns being fired and nothing getting hit.
Yeah. So there we are. So I guess it's open mic, open lines, as Art Bell used to say.
So guys, call in if you want to. Let's see if I can see those numbers.
Open lines.
877-722-7382 or locally 336-996-1596. Give us a call, guys, and
you can even share your Ron Mexico stories with us.
It'll be fun.
Oh, me.
But I don't know what's going on. I mean, this is not the first time this sort of thing has happened, so we just sort of have to wing it.
Yeah.
Just like the old days, boy.
Yeah.
Anyone out there got any cool grassy knoll stories?
Oh, there we go.
True.
Grassy Knoll.
Has anyone here actually ever been to the
I have not. I've always wanted to.
Have you been to the
I've
Grassy
never
Knoll?
been either.
That's a
And
WOTU
why'd you
trip.
bring
It's
it
kind
up?
of a letdown.
That's
You know-
a WOTU trip we need to take. The Grassy Knoll.
You know, Chuck, I thought you'd been to the Grassy Knoll, and I was about to hear a lovely story about.
I really
you know,
wish
about-
I had. I'd love to see that sniper's nest that Oswald supposedly shot Kennedy from.
Is that building still there?
It's still there. It's a museum.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I would imagine it is
The magic bullet.
the magic
You know
bullet.
who devised that too for the Warren Commission is current Senator Arlen Specter.
Yeah.
Is that so?
Yeah,
That is so.
cool piece of trivia right there.
Old Arlen.
Yeah.
I just find it very. I think I think Oliver Stone did just a great job with the movie JFK.
You know, in recent years, CBS and some other outfits have gone and picked it apart.
Well, they've
factually.
tried to pick it apart.
Yeah,
and
and
they haven't been very successful.
They haven't done a very good job of convincing me, certainly.
Yeah, and I just think it's weird too that if you notice, remember when we talked to Cyril Wex, how the Nigel Turner episode on the History Channel, The Men Who Killed Kennedy.
The last one.
The last one you can't find anymore. They don't
Actually, I thought
sell
it was
it.
the
The last two,
three,
or last
Did,
two or
did
three.
those
yeah.
actually get on the TV?
Yeah,
I mean,
not only that,
because-
they actually went out on DVD sales, but what I'm saying is they don't sell them as part of the DVD pack
And they don't
anymore.
air them, certainly, either.
And you go on eBay, man, to get them, it's hundreds of dollars for these because they're so
I've
rare.
got them on VHS at my house.
Probably got them on
actually.
TiVo, don't you?
No, I've been meaning to transfer them because at the time I didn't have a DVR, so
Oh, wow.
I just had a VHS.
Yeah, I would definitely love to
because
see that again.
I remember seeing it, and I remember seeing how basically the fingers were pointing to
LBJ.
LBJ.
Yeah.
I mean, and talking about the assassinations in Texas.
I've
These
seen
old men that died.
seen the secret tapes.
Just a string of deaths that surrounded the whole affair.
Well, not only that,
you know?
that mortician that they had. Do you remember that they interviewed him, the guy that actually put the bodies in the ground?
That was one of the 3 series.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that was kind of creepy.
The third one was actually Oswald's mistress. Do you remember this one? She was an 18-year-old girl that never went to college. That was such a phenom, like biologist, that they conscripted her in Louisiana for this
I remember
chem
this.
bio program.
Yeah,
they
I
were plotting
yeah,
to,
I do remember
to assassinate Castro.
It was one of those wonderful attempts where the CIA tried to destroy Castro's beard.
But they had a lot of
No,
good
it's true.
information.
Yeah, I know.
A lot of
it's
good
true.
information connecting him to her, and that he had been having an affair with her for I guess several years.
That is odd.
877
I'm sorry.
722-7382 877-SCARE-YOU-2 or locally 336-996-1596.
Incidentally, that pause was where we were all sitting there deep in thought.
Yeah, deep thoughts.
No one really had any. I've got some deep thoughts.
Deep Thoughts by Trent.
No, I'm just kidding.
SNL.
I'm not going to do that.
But
but those things are
15
years, yeah.
But those things are great, though. I mean, my favorite one, I think one of my favorite ones is where he goes, if you met 2 dolphins and one was named Hambone and the other one was named Flippy, which one do you think would like hamburgers better? You would think it'd be Hambone, but you're wrong. It's Flippy. You know? I'm sorry.
He likes even grill marks on both sides of the patty.
Hey, what happened?
Perpendicular lines there, on both sides. It's quite a trick,
Has anyone seen SNL in recently?
No.
I watched, I think, part of the Peyton Manning, Carrie Underwood one they had on Saturday night. That's actually a pretty good one. There's a skit with Peyton Manning working with kids and just berating them.
Well, I just haven't seen it in a number of years, and I wondered if it had got out of its suck mode and actually was decent again.
I have to say no.
The good old days,
Well,
were gone
I mean,
for
with Saturday Night Live, it seems like, they had periods of, really fantastic
stuff.
stars, like when they had Belushi and Murphy and, who was that other guy?
Stevie
Murray,
Martin.
not Murphy.
Eddie Murphy.
Eddie Murphy wasn't on with those guys.
Oh, he wasn't?
No, he was on in the early 80s.
Bill Murray.
Well, I was
Joe
thinking
Piscopo era is Eddie Murphy.
I'm thinking of Piscopo. I'm sorry. But then they had a whole bunch of
Steve
people.
Martin.
Yeah.
Dan Aykroyd.
And then they have seasons where there's just like, Fran Torkelson.
Well, do
it's
you remember
like,
the season they had?
Who's that?
Who was the kid from Weird Science and Vacation? What is his name? Anthony Michael Hall was a cast member for a year or two.
Really?
on
I
SNL.
didn't know that.
Yeah, I think it was with Robert Downey Jr.
Huh.
Yeah. And Chaco.
Dennis Miller. Oh.
Oh, he was on forever.
Old Dennis Miller. What a guy.
I still like him, even though he's a panderer. He did a lot of pandering to the right with his comedy after September.
Oh, he's on the on Bill O'Reilly.
Oh yeah, he's a
is
constant
now.
guest on O'Reilly.
Yeah.
I think he's got a radio show these days too.
Oh, Lord, doesn't
Just like
everybody?
us.
Doesn't everybody? Yeah.
Only we're better than all those people.
Yeah,
I'm
right.
sorry. We're so good. That,
We're so good,
our
our guests don't even show up.
Because
How many times do you think Miller has this problem?
Yeah, never. How about never? I don't know. I think it happens to everybody at some point. in
I was
time.
just telling you, Bill Maher had Rahm Emanuel bail on him on Friday night because theirs airs live too.
Oh man.
And they just had to go with Mos Def and Cornel West. It was very, very liberal night
I
on
can
Bill Maher.
only
as a result.
imagine.
Yeah.
Only imagine. I don't know what the world's coming to though. So speaking of politics and things of that nature, Hillary Clinton. I just don't know. I don't know if people will vote for her.
I think
Some people will.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. What do you think? Do you think that the Democratic Party will risk nominating her?
I don't think they have much of a... I'm sorry. Were you talking to Chuck or me?
Either or.
Well, all right.
Both of you guys take it.
Okay, well, I'm furthest away. So, I personally think they're willing to risk anything. And I think basically it's... And I agree with what Chuck said off the air the other week where...
I'm not gay and I've never been gay.
No.
What do you think of this?
Well, I mean, basically because Bush and the Republicans have done such a poor job with so many things in these terms that the Democrats would say, "All right, we can throw anybody up there, and they're gonna win." I mean, it's almost like that. I don't know. It's like they're not even trying, even though when they got control of the Congress, they're still just as flaccid and spineless as the Republicans were.
In fact, I heard a comparison today that said that the Iraqi legislative branch has been more effective in passing legislation than ours this year. So,
wow.
I don't know. Maybe there is something to that.
What do you think, Chuck? What do you think about
that?
Well,
I kind of I agree with Trent. Of course, I guess it originally was my idea, but
but jump on the bandwagon.
Yeah, I mean, it does look like the Rainbow Coalition over on the Democratic side. They got Richardson, a Hispanic. They've got Obama, an African American, and they've got Hillary Clinton, who we all assume is a woman.
We don't even know if
but I think she's a Cyberman.
It's pretty bad when they ask if is Barack Obama black enough.
His mom is white and his dad is an African immigrant. That's why they asked the question.
Yeah, I mean, but it's like, why does that even matter?
Yeah, it really doesn't. I mean, it seems like, and that's another thing.
That
really
street cred. He's got to
Democratic,
drown, electrocute some dogs, play some bets, go to prison for a year or two.
Well, no, that's only if he's from the South. Where is he from? Actually, where's the folks?
He's
Chicago,
actually,
I believe.
Okay, and he's born in Hawaii, I think.
Then apparently,
he lived in Jakarta for a while.
Oh, that's right, and that's also
He's
one of the
very
things they brought up is that he used to go to madrasas or has been to madrasas as a child.
Yeah.
So then he's definitely not going to be in the dogfighting thing. He's not from the South, like Whoopi Goldberg talked about. Only us Southerners participate in the sport of dogfighting. It's in our blood.
What I thought was very interesting about that comment is she said something, I think almost, or at least paraphrased what I had said here last week, is that, well, it's sort of culturally indicative or racially indicative to blacks, just as cockfighting is indicative to Hispanics, and apparently that caused an uproar because that you're not supposed to talk about stuff like that on daytime TV.
Yeah, well, but we talk about it all we want.
Well, she's on The View now too.
Yeah,
so,
she must be listening to our show. She's stealing ideas.
Yeah, she's pinch hitting for Rosie O'Donnell.
Oh, yeah, okay, Rosie.
Let's get another liberal woman up there. That's what we need.
Although, to be fair, actually, Whoopi's left-wing comedy is actually pretty decent, man. She does a pretty good job.
Yeah,
she's not terrible.
Does it
some
really?
Of these other
does it justify Jumpin' Jack Flash though?
That was a terrible movie.
I
can't listen to the song without thinking about it these days.
I've got a worse one for you, Trent. You remember when we were flying over to Germany in '97?
Yeah.
There was when we were flying to Germany in '97, they were playing some movie with Whoopi Goldberg, and the movie was, I think you were asleep. It was overnight, and we're having the thunderstorm, and I'm freaking out, going, "We're gonna die!" Right? But it was because I hate flying in planes, I really do. But so I'm watching this film, trying to keep my mind off of the turmoil going outside, and it was Whoopi Goldberg pretending to be a man, dressing up like a white man, I believe, and having a job as a man.
How long ago was this?
Like
this
I said, around
sounds
'97.
vaguely familiar.
And it was okay.
Like a precursor to White Chicks or something.
Yeah, oh, definitely. I mean, it was okay.
That was a classic
Is that
movie,
our guest?
too. I mean, it's...
No? Not our guest, okay. Who we got? Paul from Greensboro. Paul, how you doing?
Paul, how you doing?
Hey, what's going on?
Oh.
Not much. You want to stand in an area that we can hear you better?
Scott.
I'm messing with you, Paul. How you doing?
I'm trying.
Paul?
Okay. I got one of these internet phones, so sometimes it comes and goes.
Oh, let's see.
Okay, what you got for us? Yeah, kind of.
Yeah, kind of.
Are you going to the Mothman Festival?
Are we going to the Mothman Festival?
Mothman Festival is in West Virginia this year. It's September 15th through 16th.
Yeah, we're not going to be able to make that.
Oh, no.
We've always wanted to go, and we always forget about it.
Yeah.
Trent, I think Trent's afraid of that place, though.
Mothman
credentials are gone.
I'm sorry? Who's going?
Can you hear me?
We can't hear you. We're gonna have to. We're gonna let you talk to. We're gonna let you talk to D again. Anyway, he said someone was going. I don't know who.
Oh, well, he was talking about here on the chat room.
Oh, okay. He's in chat. Okay. What'd he say? Who's going?
It was
Paul. We're sorry. We're gonna have to disconnect with you, buddy. Sorry about that bad phone connection. Feel free to call in 877-722-7382. That's 877-SCARE-U2, toll free in the United States and Canada, or locally 336-996-1596.
That's right.
Yeah, Mothman Convention. I'd love to go to one of those. I really would.
We will eventually.
Eventually. I'd like to, start this thing that we talked about, the little WOTU road trips around the state of North Carolina. Like, I want to go to the Devil's Tramping Ground and
number of places.
I'd love to have I'd love to be able to go to Sleepy Hollow this year, but it's just not going to work out. I want a good Halloween show there live, and I think the best way to do that we'd have to do it when Halloween falls on a Friday or a Thursday or something like that, because we'd like to spend the day out there and talk to the local townspeople and get some good sound bites, and I think it'd be a great Halloween show.
I think we could really drum it up, and they'd be very excited.
Oh yeah, man, it'd be great. I mean,
we're pretty schmoozing people anyway, So,
oh yeah, I mean, it would be something that would be very exciting. It would be new. It'll be weird. It'd be something that we
have to figure out the logistics on.
Okay, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, we have to put out our
pie
graphs, and we got a
break.
Oh, we got a break coming up. Oh yeah, we got a hard break coming up.
Well, what a way to talk a whole lot about nothing.
Yeah, basically. All right, guys, we'll be back here in 5. You're listening to World of the Unexplained. We'll be back after this. And we're back. World of the Unexplained tonight. Guestless. That's right.
Guestless in Kernersville.
That's right.
Oh, well. Listen, real quick. Okay, first the numbers. 1-877-722-7382 or locally 336-996-1596. Paul sent me a link to this Mothman Festival thing. I'm going to talk about it just for a brief moment here. You can find this at www.cryptomundo.com/cryptozoo-news/Mothman -- Just
type in Mothman Festival in Google.
Yeah.
Crypto.
But anyway, it's going on.
That's what's his name's site, isn't it? Lauren Coleman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
September 15th, 16th, 2007, Point Pleasant, West Virginia. Admission is free. How far is that, Scott, to get up there?
From here? Mm-hmm. It's about 3.5, 4 hours. Anybody ever been there besides me?
Nah, I sure haven't.
No, I haven't either, man.
It is the weirdest place, man. I know when I got there, I really upset the hotel owner. It's a family-owned business. Him and his wife, I believe, own it. Because I showed up at like 3 in the morning. I'm thinking, because I was doing a show, man, like in Huntersville or something. No, I was doing a show in Charleston, I think.
Was this like a bed and breakfast or something you showed up to?
No, it's like the main hotel on Main Street, but the town's like one of those places that rolls up at 9.
Yeah.
And it's real old, and I didn't realize, man. Yeah, man, I was banging the door. I had to call the hotel, man. I woke him up. He was not happy.
The street lights start blinking at 7 and
yeah, dude. And you could drop a pin. It was so quiet out there in downtown.
Yeah,
at like 3 a.m.
This is basically the guest list for the festival. We have
the key. Well, let me just tell the key story. The keys are skeleton keys to the
old school
to the motel you were in.
Really?
And it's supposedly haunted. We didn't stay on the haunted floor. I don't believe. I can't remember now, but yeah, I mean they're like skeleton keys.
It's kind of cool
to get into your room. It's
but
real old fashioned. The beds are the old frame type that creak when you get on them. The toilets were old. The lights were old. I mean everything in there is just old. Circa 1950s.
That's cool. The festival has Rosemary Ellen Guiley, and we've had her before on the show. Robin Payette Bellamy, author and Mothman witness. Chad Lambert, Mothman comic writer. Andy Colvin, writer, photographer. Susan Shepard, writer and ghost hunter. Carol McCormick, Prodigy Group paranormal investigators. Travis Short, filmmaker and investigator. Ryan Buell, investigator for new A&E paranormal TV series. James Willis, founder, director, The Ghost of Ohio. And Dan Cutler, chief cornstalk reenactor, because of that battle that happened up there. Also, the dudes from Ghostly Talk are going to be up.
They're there every year.
Yeah, they are. That's just where they're going.
Doug loves him some Mothman.
That's it. Ron Paul, you're on. What's up, buddy?
Hey, not much, man. Look, tomorrow's September 11th. I thought I'd call in and ask you guys what were you doing the first time September 11th came around, and what are some thoughts on that?
Great question. What were you doing, Ron?
I was at home and I missed most of it. My roommate woke me up.
You were asleep.
we did have sort of an unexplained thing happen though when we were up talking about. I yelled, "Hey, they blew up New York City," not knowing what was happening. And my roommate and I got up and we were trying to adjust the TV and we hit this clock radio and it hit the ground and turned on to the station that we were watching. And for some reason, we couldn't cut it off. It was like a supernatural thing. We banged on it a little bit, and even when we tried to cut it off, like we unplugged it, it kept going.
That's plain
You
weird.
unplugged it and it kept going?
It must have been the emergency broadcast system had kicked in somehow, and we had gotten the broadcast from the TV, I think. But it felt supernatural at the time. It made it that much worse, too, to understand what was going on eventually.
What were you doing, Trent?
I was in class, actually. I was taking one of my Russian classes. And we were in there, and people were talking about planes hitting buildings in New York. And to tell you the truth, I really didn't buy it. I was like, that's so ridiculous. I can't even believe that. And apparently the truth came out, and then it wasn't very chaotic at the time, but I remembered how nice a day it was. That's what I noticed. It was a very beautiful, beautiful North Carolina blue skies, fall day. It was beautiful on the campus. And, I was just thinking to myself, man, so many hours north of here, there's just utter chaos going on. And I think that it was a weird juxtaposition of these things that were going on at the same time. It kind of hit me in a very bizarre way, I guess. I don't know.
I was lifting weights, and I saw it come over the TV screen. I was lifting weights. I was going to take a shower and then go to class. And it was just something that was really weird. You get there and, Guilford, the Quaker liberal school that they are, everyone had the morning stuff set up. And, and there were people that were tremendously worried about their parents. I do remember a lot of kids crying. It was pretty horrific thing. And I remember later that afternoon going to a Mexican restaurant that I used to frequent in college and drinking a beer. And I remember Jaime and Alejandro that used to work up there that we used to talk to.
Good old Jaime and Alejandro. Yep.
And they were so pro-American. I think it scared the heck out of so many immigrants after that situation happened. And, because you see so many immigrants that weren't from here that were flying the We Love America banner. I think it scared a lot of those people because, of what the U.S. has done in the past. With
right.
internment
They were
camps.
scared of ignorant America, that's for sure, Jay.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And part of being a broadcaster is about educating people, about what America is, and that was with some of the things that I was thinking about talking about tonight were like destiny and how that affects America and what that means for September 11th. Since a lot of people seem to be upset with the Bush administration because they think they're taking the American message outside of America, and it's for some people think it's just for America and that we're pushing too hard outside of our borders.
Well, Chuck, what were you doing?
I was doing actually pretty much the same thing you were doing, man. I remember
you were lifting weights.
No, I wasn't lifting any weights, but I was on my way over to Guilford to have a class with good old Dr. Fike, man. Political thought, or I can't remember exactly what the course was. It was Plato, Aristotle, that sort of stuff. And I remember running real late to it and cutting on the radio in the car, and I heard the Pentagon and the WTC, were under attack. And that people had flown planes into them, And I kept thinking to myself, what is the WTC, man?
Well,
oh my gosh! Wow.
Hey, it makes sense. I mean, I don't think I had ever really knew what it was before that. D, what were you doing? And pass the mic back to him there.
I actually was on my hands and knees changing a motor out of a folding machine, covered in my hands all the way up to my elbows in grease.
Okay.
Weird. Did you go home that day?
No, I kept working. I had to work that shift and part of
Another
second shift as well.
Yeah, the only reason that we didn't work was because we were all in college and didn't have jobs.
Yeah.
But it was that was something, man. And to coming up on this anniversary, and you know how these cyclo-Islamo-fascists are. You kind of wonder, are they trying again? Are they going to try something tomorrow? And that's a scary thought. Because,
I think it's just too obvious, man. Personally.
Well, these dates are very significant for these people.
Well,
and you have that message coming out a couple days ago with him.
Yeah, and I mean that was timed, just right.
See, the thing is about it,
and that's what terrorism is. You want to keep people in a state of fear. I think we lost Ron.
Oh, sorry, Ron.
And Ron, you can call us back if you want. Sorry about that.
All I'd say is they'd have a hard time invading the South.
They'd have a hard time invading the South. Yes, sir, they would. We've all got guns here.
The thing the thing that either bothered me or whatever was the amount of American flags I saw everywhere right after the fact. And in a way, it's like, okay, cool, you're being patriotic, but it's like, shouldn't you be doing that all the time, regardless of national tragedy? And then now you don't see them as much anymore. It was like, there was some skit on some comedy thing where they're talking about Happy Flag Day, Flaggy Flag Day, where everybody was waving flags, and I don't know. I mean, I don't know if that was very nasty or whatever, but it was very interesting.
I think these moments bring nationalism to a good.
They most definitely do. Yeah,
that's a good thing though. Ron Paul, we've got you back now. It looks like Ron, you with us again?
Yes, I'm with you again.
Okay, sorry about that. I don't know what happened.
Oh, that's okay. It just happens on my cell. It's not the best connection in the world.
I hear you.
Well, how do you guys feel about what's happened since then? We got the whole Patriot Act. We've got a war going on longer than World War II. Not as many casualties, thank God, but still it's not a draft-backed army, so the Army's got less resources. What do you guys think about that?
I don't know. Me personally, I don't know where I stand on that anymore. I used to be against the war, but after speaking to so many people in the military that have a positive goal, I just don't know. I don't know where I'm at with it, honestly. I know that he wouldn't. I don't think that bin Laden, I think we're invading their holy land to a degree. We're there and they don't want us there, and I think that might just
encourage it rather than get rid of it.
Yeah, I think it's something that's good if we're making them uncomfortable. But at what cost? At how long? I don't know. Those are questions that I really have to wrestle with more.
I think Afghanistan was totally justifiable in a lot of ways, and I think Iraq basically was politically and
I think Iraq was totally.
It all had to do with Bush and oil money, and
right?
Revenge.
But now
that being said, now that we are in Iraq, now okay, maybe I wouldn't agree with it, and maybe I think it's a mistake. But the point is that we're there now, and
if we just
our soldiers are dying, and it totally puts a different issue.
But if we just up and leave, you know what's going to happen.
Well, you create a vacuum, a power vacuum there that's no longer filled by Saddam Hussein, and these people will tear each other apart. You'll have Iran coming in, Saudi Arabia, Syria.
Yeah,
it'll be nasty. It'll destabilize the entire region if we were just to up and leave.
Like it's stable now.
It would look even 10 times worse than it does today.
Those are all good points, but at the same time, neither one of us are really fully expert. Read as much in the background, try to catch up on the other issues, and still, some of that religious history just goes on for thousands of years. It's tough to really sort it all out, I guess, unless you have a lot of spare time.
Yeah, my whole opinion about dictators is that when you take away the dictator, you're going to create anarchy. I mean, it happened after the fall of the Cold War, for example. I mean, when the Soviet Union collapsed, all of a sudden you had the horrible stuff in Bosnia and Herzegovina. Anytime you have a police state that goes away and is dismembered or destroyed, you have all these people up in arms because those people had hatreds and prejudices and whatever before the police state basically shut them down. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, we can do what we want again. Okay, I'm going to pick up my gun and go hit that guy across the hill again. You know what I mean? And
who are you voting for, Ron? Or have you made a decision yet as to who you back on this political run?
Since I'm sort of halfway in the field of lobbying and I'm trying to get civil defense even listed as a political issue, because you know how politics works. If you don't get that issue out there and it's not a debated issue, it might as well not even exist. Thank God for Al Gore. I will say for him, he at least came out and talks about global warming and talks about the seriousness of it, which is something I'd like to hear more discussion about in politics. But aside from that, you've got very experienced people. You got Giuliani, you got Barack Obama coming up. A lot of people, I personally think Mr. Obama may be slightly too innocent, I guess, or not experienced enough to actually run the federal government. But he seems to be a strong candidate. It's not crystal clear where his foundational points are.
So you're speaking like you're a liberal, and I'm just wondering how that liberalism and faith-based initiatives tie into each other. I don't think they do.
Well, no, I don't think that they do either. What I'm trying to say is, as a citizen and not being an advocate of a faith-based initiative at this particular moment, I think you can't afford to be a liberal or a conservative. You have to listen and actually look at what kind of policy people are going to implement, which means nailing down as much of their platform as possible. And that's what I'm trying to analyze my way through, and obviously that takes a lot of time, and I'm not doing too swift at it at the moment, because a lot of people are putting out what they want to do, but it's Democrat versus Republican too, and it's tough to figure out what a candidate's going to do if you back them. That's the big question for me, and it always has been. It's not backing a candidate or wanting to be involved in the political process, but can you find someone that is actually going to look at the issues that you find are important? And a lot of people stay away from the process.
So, Ron, you believe that Rudy Giuliani has enough experience to run the federal government as, former mayor of New York?
My gut feeling, yes, I do. I think he's...
Why is that?
Because it would almost be a step down from him. He's got millions of people right in his face. He has
a step down? I'm sorry, man. But he was a mayor of a city, granted a city of 20 million people.
He was a mayor.
Million, not 10 million. There you go. That's an important point. If that's a correct figure, that's quite a lot of people to deal with on a daily basis. There are a lot. It's population concentration means the intensity of government, the amount of budget, the amount of paperwork and detail, the daily routine, the things that a president would already have to do. Rudy Giuliani has practiced on a regular basis, even more so, say, than a senator or perhaps even a governor.
Well, I would agree with you with the senator, not with the governor, though. I would probably say that the points you're bringing up about him would be valid if he had run for the governorship and actually served a term. But, Mayor of New York, you have, very little experience, as far as delegating, authority, working as an executive. It's a lot different being the mayor as opposed to a governor of a state. I don't know.
Well, he's not a normal mayor. He's got multiple boroughs.
Agreed.
Is like a small, almost state in its own. He's got a police force of 10,000 guys. That's roughly the equivalent of a military division. He can wield a lot of power if he has to. There's a lot of
he was a lame duck mayor though before September 11th happened.
We were just asking what are the ramifications of having on your resume mayor of New York City. I say they're pretty decent, for running the country. It's the same kind of pressure.
Okay, I could follow that argument.
Order of magnitude, let's say.
But I just wouldn't call it a step down, that's all.
You know the reason why he was running around and had nowhere to go on September 11th? You know why that was?
They blew up his city?
Well, no, because the disaster control center that they had asked him to put several blocks away several times, a lot of the technocrats had, he insisted on being in the base of the World Trade Center. So when the tower fell, he had nowhere to command from.
Right, the command post was in one of the towers. I actually talked to a survivor of September 11th, one of the trade tower survivors down in Florida when I was working for FEMA. It was a guy who had worked, I think he'd worked with the window washing detail, and they were still very, very upset. One of his, he had an orphan child whose both her parents had died in collapse of the towers. And this was, 2005, so... the pain and the misery is still there for people that actually touched their lives, and a lot of people are still hurt and sick because of that. There's all the military families that have been touched from the war, the wounded people, the dead people, and the families of the dead people. Since this is a Christian broadcast too, that I'd like to remember them and ask people to pray for them, tomorrow, and remember that, it's a very solemn thing to have to go through this and remember it again, because it was it was a very horrible thing brought about by very few people, and I as a Christian am opposed to that sort of activity, very much so.
Well, and we are too, but I just want to remind everyone, I got an email, it's called Lights On September 11th, urging everyone to drive during the daytime hours with their lights on tomorrow in a silent showing of the remembrance of the tragic event that happened September 11th, 2001. Lest we forget. I'll drive my car with the lights on tomorrow.
Were you quoting Kipling, Scott?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I think so. I don't know.
Yeah.
Jay, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
You've got your ear to the grindstone in the legal field. You're recently you passed the bar and you're a lawyer now, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so you had to hear some backroom stories from some of this Homeland Security legal stuff. What's the latest scuttlebutt coming down from the lawyers that you talk to on a daily basis?
Well, you know, I practice criminal law and family law mainly. You know, most of my stuff is on a state level. I haven't done any federal stuff yet. I am licensed in the Western District of North Carolina to practice in federal court here, but I haven't had such a case yet. And frankly, I'd be pretty scared to go to federal court because the rules are a little bit different, and you know, it's just something that practice makes perfect, and I haven't had any practice with it as of yet.
So you're saying nobody in the courts that you are operating in have any cases that have anything to do with Homeland Defense, as far as you know? There haven't been any wiretapping cases or act cases. Not here on
the community level that I'm in. No, you have to understand
either,
too.
By the way.
I'm sorry.
I haven't heard any stories either, very few, if any, of it being abused, I guess. You hear the occasional story of terrorist cells or people suspected to be terrorists getting snapped up, and then not much more after that. So,
well, I mean, you've got, you know, the American Bar Association, which I'm a member of. They send out a journal every month, and this month's issue was on the terrorist attacks of 9/11 and on the defense of some of these, you know, like the Moussaoui case and things like that. And they talked about it, and you know, part of me I can understand as an attorney to make your name, or you know, for the greed factor, or in some cases like what these attorneys were doing, I think in some respects to defend someone's rights. They were going all the way out to do this for Moussaoui, and you know, but to be treated the way they were treated by him, you know, I think you just needed a good long strand of rope, you know, on the courthouse lawn, and that's just my opinion of it, and maybe. You know, maybe that's wrong, but, you know, these people don't understand our system of justice. And I'm just appalled at the way that our justice system's handled it. You know, one of the articles was even a speculative article this month that said, you know, would you defend bin Laden? And it asked a lot of attorneys, would you defend him? And then if you would defend him, how, you know, what would your strategy be? I mean, I'm sorry, but if the ABA has nothing better to write about than that, I think they should just stop writing articles. Yeah, exactly. You know, it's just, I don't know. I think that we definitely should keep our eyes and ears to the grindstone because, you know, like these things that are happening now with this highway you hear tell about, this North American Union that's in the background, these things will pose some serious consequences not only to our safety in the United States, but also to our personal freedoms and liberties, and I think that it's an error that we really have to be careful of. But we've got to take a break, Ron. Thanks for calling tonight. We appreciate talking to you.
It's no problem.
God bless you, okay?
Hey, God bless you guys, too. You know, let's remember September 11th tomorrow, and remember civil defense starts at home. A couple cases of bottled water and goods goes a long way. It's part of the American citizens' responsibility, especially those who have government service under their belt, to be somewhat prepared for minor disruptions in our day-to-day activity, which is what terrorism is all about, right?
And what's your website again, Ron?
It's www.civilizationcontinuity.org. I have a fine interview by Jay Scott on World of the Unexplained with his crew.
Well, thank you.
Right on the radio interview button on front, and what I'm an advocate of is citizen participatory civil defense in the county of residence through the faith-based initiative, which basically means going with your church congregation to do civil defense that the federal government will sponsor, engineer, and present throughout the country, which is what I'm trying to lobby and make a political issue in the election year.
Well, good luck with that, Ron. We'll talk to you later. Okay, bud?
See you, Ron.
Jay. I'll be in touch.
All right. Take care.
Take care, guys.
And that was Ron Paul Hunter. You're listening to World of the Unexplained, guys. We're going to take another short break. I promise it won't be as long as the last, or maybe I'm lying to you. I don't know. We'll be back in a few. Hang tight. You're listening to Guestless on World of the Unexplained.
This is World of the Unexplained. Tonight we have no guest. The numbers are 1-877-722-7382 or locally 336-996-1596.
Well, thank you, Roboto Man.
You are compatible. You will be upgraded. I'm sorry, you haven't seen the new Doctor Who's yet, have you, Scott?
No,
the ones with the Cyberman.
I
and everything.
like the old Doctor Who with the guy there. I like the first season with Eccleston or whatever his name was. Yeah.
I mean, this new guy's cool too. I mean, it's just I don't know what happened.
We don't know what happened either.
Yeah, but it has Cybermen in it, and I'm a big fan of the Cybermen from way back in the day. And we have a caller. Chris from Atlanta. Chris, how are you doing?
Hey guys.
Are you compatible?
Chris, I've been meaning to call you for your contact information. If you would email that to me, because Ethan Dettenmeyer asked about you the other day, and he didn't want to feel like a jerk.
Okay.
So just email it to.
Actually, that's what I'm calling about.
Okay.
Something you guys were talking about Hillary Clinton earlier on with the elections and all that stuff, and that got me thinking about vampires.
Okay.
Interesting. All right, let's hear it.
Well, they're both bloodsuckers.
I just want to call in about one of the nicest, sweetest guests you guys have ever had. That, of course, being Terry Bain. Yeah. I have gotten the I guess they're etchings, drawings, whatever, from the Stump the Vampirologist.
Yeah.
Game that we played.
Yeah.
And these things are absolutely fantastic. I wish you guys could see them. They're top quality artwork, and shameless plug, if you can, go out, get the book. It's well worth it.
It is well worth it.
For those of you who were here and able to go to Dragon Con and got to meet her, I'm sure you know exactly what I'm talking about. I mean, in addition to the lithograph, she also sent a very nice letter, thanking me. It's written in red ink. Well, I think it's red ink. But anyway, I just want to call in, give a plug to one of the nicest, best guests you guys have had. So,
well, send me an email with your address and everything, so I can ship that over to Ethan.
Not a problem. I'll do that.
And who are you behind in this election here? You know that Fred Thompson's now officially entered. Who do you support?
You see, that's actually a tough one. I usually wind up going the route of the Democrat, even though I'm not a Democrat and I'm not a Republican. I'm confused.
You're an independent.
I mean, on one hand, either Hillary or Obama would be fine in my opinion, because either way, you're either going to have the first female president or the first non-white president, and that's going to piss off plenty of people. I'm not really sure about the Republican side, just because I've been so busy with work. I honestly haven't been able to keep up with it.
So you've just been watching a one-sided argument?
Yeah. If I really had my choice, I would go with Edwards.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Well, Edwards is the only liberal I would be able to live with out of the Democratic side.
Yeah, I mean, he's pretty much the one that as much as I can say this, he's the only one that I've seen on the party who I can trust.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, wow.
So
interesting.
Well, thanks for calling in, Chris. We appreciate it.
Yeah, appreciate it, Chris.
Shoot me that email, man.
I will do. You guys have a good one.
Okay,
thanks,
Chris.
you too, buddy.
Get some rest, man.
Bye.
All right.
You know what? For some reason, I don't watch Law and Order. I really don't watch a lot of TV at all. So I mean, I didn't know who Fred Thompson was. You know who I thought it was whenever they were talking about Fred Thompson?
Who did you think it was?
And maybe I haven't watched this TV show either, but for whatever reason, I got this generality of that little kid from the Wonder Years.
You thought it was Fred Savage?
I don't know, man.
Dude, he's our age. He's not even old enough to run for president.
That's what I was saying. Like, what, that guy from the Wonder Years? And of course, like later on down the line, it's like, oh, okay. Well, I don't know who he is.
Yeah.
Yeah. It just shows you how much I keep involved in politics. This is, Yeah.
Ross Perot.
What an interesting guy.
Ross Perot made himself a lot of money off that campaign.
Did he really?
Tax write-offs.
Oh, yeah, man.
Yeah.
And not only that, I mean, it's, he's getting all that. He started that, what was it called, the grassroots movement or something?
Yeah. It was the Reform Party.
Yeah, but, well, I mean, you can imagine all the money that poured into his coffers after that. He's probably got a newsletter you can subscribe to.
2000 and screwed the whole thing up for him. couldn't even get federal matching funds, man.
Oh.
Yeah.
Ugh. Oh, what a fiasco that was!
Yeah, unfortunately, it's like those third-party candidates just basically give votes to one.
I was having a conversation with, I think it was Johnny Garman the other night, and we were talking, and he was like, "Well, this will be the first time that, that a Democrat is going to get a run that basically there's no. If a Democrat's elected, it'll be the first time in a while since Carter that there wasn't any third party interference, opposition from you had Perot that took away some of the votes.
I'm convinced actually that's the reason why Bill Clinton
won the first
in 92
time.
was because of Ross Perot.
But then looking back, I'm thinking, well, what about the second time? Because I don't remember.
He ran again. He only got 8% that time, though.
But I don't think 8%'s enough to really. Well, I don't know. I don't remember the numbers.
They say that Nader screwed.
That's right. I forgot about Nader.
Gore pretty badly, and that was only 2 or 3%.
Okay, well there you go then.
Yeah.
There you go. So yeah, maybe he's right then.
He may be. Well, I think actually Ron Paul was another serious third-party candidate back in '88.
Really, that long back? I don't remember.
Yeah,
that.
and I don't know what was going on in '84 and '80 as far as the third-party candidates were concerned.
It's because you were like 5.
Exactly. Exactly.
3.
I'll have to research that, man. Just so I have it off the top of my head next time.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's a need to know.
The first president
really is a need to know. Some need to know information there, D.
The first president that I remember is Jimmy Carter, and I remember him vague.
The first president I remember was Reagan, and I remember watching the election with him and Mondale, and of course I had no idea what the heck any of that was. It was the actual
Mondale and Ferrera.
It was the actual election night, and I was sitting there drawing little robots about how Reagan was some kind of robot and he was blasting the Mondale robot, and it was like when Reagan won, I was like yay, and then I drew the Mondale robot blowing up with gears.
You really wouldn't have cared who had won.
Yeah, just so long as the robot,
one of them off.
just so long as one of the president robots blew up, and how strangely ironic that analogy is so true. Sometimes.
Reagan really buried him in that debate.
Yeah, it was pretty.
It was the second or third one, though. But
looking back on it,
there he goes again. That quote.
Yeah.
What you know the one quote that's up on Johnny's site, which is really good. If you guys hadn't checked it out, be sure to do that. It's his MySpace. Not a Democrat, I think is what it is. But it's myspace.com/not a Democrat. There's a clip up there on YouTube. I think it's a YouTube clip that he's using where it's got Sam Donaldson asking Ronald Reagan, if any of these problems are his fault or something like that. And he basically says, yes, I do take some responsibility for those. I once was a Democrat. It's just really, it's just a really funny, little clip. But I think Fred Thompson, to me, though, he kind of, and I think he's spurring it on in a lot of people. He's bringing that.
He's throwing a lot of red meat to the Republican base, is what he's doing.
But I mean, it's he's got that charisma that I think everyone's wanting the Reagan.
And that red truck people love so much.
So
I'm voting for Thompson. He's got a red truck,
and he's got a young wife.
And you know what? It's
sports guns.
It's like that thing I went off on the other last show about how people that basically vote for whatever ridiculous reason, not actually platforms. It's just, and they were, I wouldn't be surprised if somebody did vote for him because he had a red truck.
That's how he won in Tennessee twice.
Okay, who in this room did not vote at the last presidential election? Okay, I got one.
I mean, I voted.
Did you really? I thought you didn't.
Yeah.
That was the time before you didn't vote.
No, one time I wrote in my dog's name and voted for him.
So that's really a no vote. Which election was that? D said he didn't vote last time.
It was not the last one, but the one before. I just was
So the first time George W. ran, you didn't vote.
I wrote for
I had a bunch
dog.
of friends that wrote in for Nader too.
God.
Yeah, and
those are no
votes
votes.
aren't counted either.
Yeah, I was out of the country.
Oh, you were out of the country. Well, you could have done it by by the little mail thing, what they call it, by proxy or something.
The electoral. I mean, not electoral, but
You know what I'm talking about. Absentee ballots, that's it, yeah.
They
By
also have
proxy.
early voting in Guilford County here.
Early
I'm
voting.
sure they have it in a lot of places, too. That was, in fact, the first time that they started it was in 2000. That was the first time I'd ever heard of it.
It scares me to think of all these machines going computerized, though.
Yeah, there's something that I find a little bit
Yeah.
suspicious about.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, in our county, when we vote, I mean, there's an actual paper vote that gets printed out and it scrolls through.
Yeah.
And I guess that's cool, you know, because you do have something to back it up. But
Well,
then
at
it's
least you
like
can look at it as you vote.
Yeah,
and
you're
like,
going
oh,
like,
there's some sort of record of this,
right? Not to say like, oh, all those ballots got lost in the big ballot fire.
You know, I'm still
Whatever.
I still have my suspicions though about the Gore Bush thing. I really do.
No, I definitely do too. Have you seen that program that HBO did, Hacking Democracy?
No, I haven't.
If anyone hasn't seen that out there, I think you can get it on Netflix.
Is it on demand?
It may be on demand. I don't know. I'll have to check that out. Okay. But yeah, it exposed some pretty serious vulnerabilities with our these diaboled voting machines. How that with one program you could go in there, upload it, and you could cause an algorithm in there to, instead of counting votes, subtract votes from a candidate. That's why it was in one of these precincts back in 2000 in Florida. They found that Al Gore had totaled negative 12 votes or something. And they're like, how did he get negative votes? That's a pretty serious red herring right there.
Well, it's like it's like that movie. It's fictional, but Man of the Year with
Robin Williams.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean that's basically the idea behind it is he's getting another candidate's votes because of a glitch in the computer, and he becomes president.
So that's how Robin Williams became president.
Yeah.
No one in their right mind would ever.
Yeah, I
like that.
Well, no, I mean he's in the film. He's actually like a television show host.
Yeah.
Incidentally,
I'm sorry, just to break in.
No, go ahead.
Chris said that the really bad movie with Whoopi Goldberg, apparently is called The Associate.
That is it. So. Ding, ding, ding. We're gonna have to play some applause here on that. Yeah, yeehaw.
Anyway, I don't know.
Chris, he wins another prize.
Yeah, if we had a prize, you would win it. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about the voting machines. I just know I'm a little suspect of them.
Yeah, I'm worried about like one of those electronic counting.
Electronic.
You know what I'm talking about? Like they used when they did for American Idol.
American Idol, yeah. Text in your vote now for president too.
Oh my gosh, that would be the worst thing ever.
Obviously you wouldn't be able to do that because you have to show you that you're registered to vote. I mean, because there would be people like Chuck that would vote 600 times, or me that would vote 600 times.
For Merle Haggard.
Yeah, but we would all obviously that's the idea. But you go back to these people digging up graves, basically, getting the dead people to vote, and come on, where's the fairness here?
Well, back in 2000, they removed a whole bunch of African Americans in inner cities, urban areas, from the rolls, from the voting.
I heard about that. I remember that.
Yeah, and there was not a whole lot ever investigated about it. But yeah, they said either these people were felons and lost their right to vote, or they were deceased.
Yeah,
and how can you tell somebody who's eligible to vote that's standing right there that they're dead or in prison? Or I guess
well, they couldn't be in prison.
Sorry, you're
technically they could.
You're actually in prison, sir, and you're dead. You're a dead guy in prison. You can't vote. I don't know.
So
not a whole lot of.
Where are you at, Chuck? Who are you looking at this time?
Well, as far as the serious candidates are concerned. I like Edwards a lot, man. I worked from him in 04. He's gotten more liberal, I think, in 08 to cater to the MoveOn.org people, but I still think that he's the Democrats' great white hope.
Yeah, and he's definitely doesn't like the homosexuals.
And I like old John McCain quite a bit myself too.
Yeah,
I have a great deal of respect for the guy.
No, I have respect for him.
I agree with you, Chuck. I don't know if I'd vote for him, but I do have respect for him somewhat.
I don't know what I would do if the two of them were running against each other in a general election, man.
He wouldn't vote.
Flip a coin.
Flip a coin. Oh my gosh. What about if Edwards was running against I don't know, someone like, let's say, I'm trying to think of his name now. Names are just fleeting me.
Huckabee, Tancredo, Romney, Rudy Giuliani, Thompson.
No, none of those. I was thinking about our friend that you worked for as well. From
Vernon?
Yes.
Him versus Vernon?
If Vernon Robinson...
Hands down, Edwards.
Can you imagine Vernon Robinson being the president of the United States?
No, Scott. That would be a horrible place.
That would be just awesome.
I don't think that could happen in a million years.
He's insane.
He's great.
He's entertaining, sort of like how somebody who's, I don't know, somebody who's just lost their mind is amazing.
I think he's great. I'd vote for him.
No. Anyway,
he probably had one of the most eccentric campaigns I've seen in probably my lifetime.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that anything like that has actually happened within my lifetime. Something that that over the top and just
That was
divisive.
great.
It was a very
Right out of the Jesse Helms
It
playbook.
really was out of Jesse Helms' playbook, which apparently originated from his mentor that he was, a staffer or a page for back in the day. Yeah.
Well, I think the problem is that North Carolina's changed so much that those tactics don't work anymore. I mean, you think about Jesse Helms. His own district that he lived in never once voted for him. I mean, that's amazing.
Well, the district.
Yeah.
He was a U.S. senator.
Yeah. Well, I mean, not district. I was just using the word
I thought
district.
it was his county.
Yeah, it's like the area that he's from.
He resides in.
Yeah,
I got
that area.
Probably
No
because
one.
he lived in Raleigh or something.
I don't remember. I don't
used to
think
protest
it was
his house. I think that is.
It
where he
was in
lived.
Raleigh?
Yeah, they used to bring out every year. I can't remember what day it was, but it was this giant inflatable condom on his lawn, and it would blow up to about 50 feet in the air.
Yeah. But I mean, the thing about it was, I'm sure he got a laugh after every election when he gave him the finger as the condom was coming down.
I'm sure. Especially after the hands ad. If you guys don't know what that's all about, too, you Google that.
The what?
The Jesse Helms hands ad.
Hands ad. No.
Yeah, it was one of the last probably campaigns to re-implement segregation in the United States. Yes.
Wow.
Well, look, we got about 4 minutes, and we've said jack and crap about paranormal stuff.
Who's the
really.
guest next week?
Allegedly, the guest is Pamela Kinney.
And what did she?
She wrote a book called Haunted Richmond. That's what we're going to talk about.
Okay.
I don't know what happened to our guest tonight.
What's haunted up in Richmond, man?
Well, we'll find out.
We'll find out next week.
We'll find out next week. Like I said, guys, out there listening to our show, Guestless, I don't know what happened to our guest. I mean, we called him numerous times. It's happened before. We'll just try to reschedule for him. I mean, he's pretty cool, and maybe something was going on. I don't know. I mean,
you never know. I mean, he could have been called away.
That's true. I mean, he is
It's exercise.
Well, I mean, he's also a father too, like an actual,
priest
of the clergy. So I mean, there's any number of reasons why he'd have to
bail on us.
Yeah. But
it happens.
Yeah, it does. So otherwise, you saw us do talk about politics mainly. No paranormal. Just
we talked about paranormal. For
did
a
we?
little bit, yeah.
For about
we tried to talk about JFK and the grassy knoll.
Yeah, okay,
like
right. Conspiracy.
Talked
theories.
about Mothman for a
we
little
should
bit.
talk. Yeah, conspiracy theories are always fun to talk about, and they're related to political stuff too.
Yeah,
in a lot of ways.
Well, 9/11 is tomorrow. Once again, we remind you all to drive with your lights on.
And remember the terrible tragedy that happened that day. Think about the families and what they had gone through and what they must be thinking about at this time. So
it's got to be a horrible reminder every year.
It does. And anyway, it's one of those.
And if your birthday's tomorrow, gosh, I feel terrible for you.
That really would be
that'd be awful, wouldn't it?
Man, wouldn't it?
Oh man. But all joking aside, yeah, that would be a bad rap.
But like I said, next week, Pamela Kinney,
Haunted Richmond.
I believe that's
that should be fun. Chuck your folks on some property in Richmond.
Not Richmond, Roanoke, but they live about 2 hours.
That's
from
where I
Richmond.
had that horrible.
It's an old city.
Yeah,
it is. It's one of the capital of the Confederacy at one point.
At one point, it was actually for the majority of the Confederacy. It was the capital.
Yeah.
Huh.
So.
Well, there we go. A little fun fact.
There you go. Learning something every week.
That's right.
On World of the Unexplained. But now we have about 2 minutes. You know what? Normally on these guestless episodes, I do something pretty crazy, like do a Chewbacca impersonation.
Yeah.
I didn't this time. I did a Cyberman.
I know. I didn't even egg you on to do it.
You
either.
didn't.
I didn't. I was thinking about it too. I was thinking Chewbacca.
I was just thinking about Cybermen. I've been thinking of. I'm really into the whole Doctor Who stuff. I always have been anyway, but. Sorry guys, no Chewbacca impersonation this time.
It's okay, man. We'll get you one time later.
One day, some random time when you don't know, I'll throw it out there. Mm-hmm. Probably in the middle of an interview, you'll be going like, "What was that?"
Like, punch it, Chewie.
Yeah.
And you'll hear the Chewbacca sound come up.
Yep.
So keep listening to the podcast. Those of you that don't tune in for the live show, and those of you that do tune in for the live show, we appreciate you and appreciate all our affiliates out there. Too numerous to mention and name right now, but this is Jay Scott, your only JD DJ on the Omni Sound Radio 1 network, saying we'll see you next week. Trent?
This is Trent Lackey. We're coming to you from Kernersville, North Carolina, a small town where we talk about big things.
And Mr. Chuck Browder.
Chuck.
We got another 20 seconds here, so.
Okay, let it build then, all right. There's all kinds of stuff we could be doing.
Oh, he's gonna hum. Yeah.
All right, that's enough of that.
We out!